Hello everyone, it is Jayden and welcome to The Alpha, the show where we talk about the hottest topics in pop culture and sports. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that like button on the video, and if you enjoy my commentary and myself truly as always, be sure to tap that subscribe button and to hit that notification bell to get notified when all my videos go live. I love you guys so much. Peace, love, and positivity always, y'all. See ya. Fantastic Four First Steps, a movie that I was not very much anticipated for in comparison to Superman. I was a whole lot more ecstatic and more excited to watch Superman in comparison to Fantastic Four First Steps. So going into the movie, my expectations were pretty much low. Obviously, I did not enjoy Thunderbolts, so I was looking for some of redemption, but I wasn't looking for this to be a whole lot better than Superman. Although, of course, I had to work over the weekend, so I didn't get to see it opening night and even opening weekend, and I saw it just this past Monday. So I've had a lot of people's opinions flirting around in my head about what they thought of the movie. You know, I got my trusty sources that I watched and their movie reviews. A lot of people seem to enjoy it. So I walked in and I was pretty excited to see what they pretty much were talking about. And I have it in my lower third. Was this the best Marvel film since Avengers Endgame? Ladies and gentlemen, I can wholeheartedly come to the conclusion and say it's possible. And I'm going to tell you why. We're going to go, as I always do with my movie reviews, we're going to go the good, the bad, and pretty much my overall final thoughts. Let's start off with the good. We know Marvel has had a problem with VFX work in their movies, with CGI specifically in their last couple. Well, I can't say with Thunderbolts because there weren't a whole lot of VFX going on with that movie, but specifically with Captain America: Brave New World, it's been pretty bad these last couple of movies that they've had. But visually, this movie was so far superior than what they've had maybe since Endgame. Every shot in the movie, from the space sequence that we've seen in the trailers, the VFX work on the female Silver Surfer, the world, just everything looked very, very good and very well made. Another aspect that was great was the story. I wasn't a huge fan of Franklin Richards being associated with the story to begin with, but he didn't really have a huge effect on the story. I mean, he had a huge effect on the story and the reason why Galactus was in this film, but he wasn't the whole sole purpose, and he wasn't the big focal point like I thought he really was going to be. The story was more focused on just the family dynamic of it all. The next thing is acting. I was very skeptical of Pedro Pascal, Reed Richards, Joseph Quinn's Human Torch, and they mostly were passable, and the acting overall was passable for me. Pedro Pascal's Reed Richards, although he wasn't my favorite in comparison to the old one, I enjoyed this how he did it. Joseph Quinn, although he didn't have the type of demeanor as old Johnny Storm did with Chris Evans, because I just think he knocked that out of the park, I still enjoyed the way he did the character. I wish he still would have had some more funny and, had a little bit more cockiness to his character, but that's not what they were going for. They wanted this Johnny to have more meaning in his character than just being some type of guy who just, is just there and just making fun of people. He had purpose, actually had purpose in this movie, and I enjoyed that. The family aspect, done very well, which is something that a lot of people were highlighting going into the film, and I see why. The family aspect of it was done superb. Matt Shakman did a very good job writing the family aspect of the story, which is something that he was commended for in WandaVision, and he put it on display in this movie. Something that was good as well, the setting. The 60s vibes, the retro vibes, it worked for me. It really took us back to something new and something fresh. Didn't feel like something that we have seen before, like we have repeatedly in previous Marvel titles when it just comes to story, setting, tone, and things of that nature. This felt new, the retro 60s vibe, not set in the same universe as the current MCU is. I think they called this universe 838. They named it in accordance to Jack Kirby. I think it had to do with either the day he was born or the day that he passed away, one or the other. It was discussed in the film. But the setting was great. I enjoyed it, and I thought I was going to have a problem with the suits and everything, but it just fit the mold of the setting of the movie. And lastly, my all-time favorite part of this movie, Galactus. When they first reveal him in the section of the movie that they revealed him, I was like, this is just great. This outside of No Way Home, we just throw No Way Home away and the nostalgia with Green Goblin and just that villain. This was the best villain for me in the MCU, period. Just done super well. I'm just talking about from just the presence of him and the tone they had for him, how menacing. Because overall throughout the film, everybody knows that he was pretty much, what's the word that they like to use, where he's pretty much mellowed down a degree when it comes to power level, just so that, it's hard for the Fantastic Four to take on somebody as featful as Galactus, but just as the way the presence of the character and the type of weight he had in the movie and how menacing he was easily one of my favorite villains in the MCU just based off of that. Now, was he done well? Absolutely not. The ending of it was passable and the way they handled him was okay, but I'm just basing this off of characteristics. He gave me just the menacing vibes of Thanos, but it wasn't executed on a writing standpoint as good as Thanos was. Because, Thanos is the best villain that's been in the MCU, period. But Galactus was fantastic from the VFX work, the voice acting for the actor who done him. I think it's some innocent. I don't want to misquote the guy's name. He done a phenomenal job. It was just all around I would rewatch this movie in the theaters just to see that in IMAX. That's how good the stuff was for Galactus. This whole film, I was just ecstatic. It was such a breath of fresh air from obviously the previous iteration we got in the old Fantastic Four movie, Rise of the Silver Surfer. It was just amazing. It was great. But of course, with the good comes the bad. And obviously this is a spoiler-free review. I may go talk to spoilers at some other point just to get some thoughts on things that I like. I still haven't done that with Superman. I've just had a lot to do. But we're just going to be relatively spoiler-free. The bad, which is something I look forward to in a comic book movie, but we didn't get it in this one, is not enough fight scenes. I don't want to burst anybody's bubble. If you were going into this movie expecting some fight scenes, you're not at the right movie. I'm going to go ahead and just preface that right now. But one thing that does come with that, though, I wasn't bored. For this to not have any I know this is probably a slight spoiler, but I'm just going to say it. There was 2 action scenes I can really vividly say the whole movie. The final sequence and the middle part. And both of them had to do essentially with Galactus. That's the only fighting we see outside of their little introduction, showing off the cool fight sequences and stuff they did to introduce the Fantastic Four. But that was one not for me. Just not enough fight scenes, which really is probably the reason why the visuals and the VFX work was done so well, is because they didn't have to push a lot of that money into the characters and using their powers in the fight scenes. So maybe that's the reason why the production budget was not as big as Superman, because with the visuals and stuff, I was sitting there thinking while I was watching the movie, I was just sitting there like, how is this not more expensive than Superman? Either James Gunn needs to hire better VFX artists, or just something's not getting done right, because Fantastic Four visual wise, VFX wise, was a way better shot movie than Superman by far. But just the fight scenes, not enough fight scenes for me. My last bad, which is not a horrible bad, but it's something we discussed a while ago when it comes to Galactus. The final act was short. Again, they watered down Galactus' power level, and it's very hard to write a story with the stakes that the film had and have an outcome for essentially the Fantastic Four, the protagonist, to become the victor in the battle. But that wasn't really the problem with it. I just wish it was drawn out a little bit more than what it was, because it was just so short. The film really, and I know this is not pertaining to just the final act, the film period could have used probably another 20 minutes maybe to give us an extra fight scene that we could have gotten earlier on in the film, and maybe just extended the final act just a little bit, and Matt Shakman and the directors and the writers just, well, not the directors, Matt Shakman's the director, but just the writers and the people just come up and extend the final act some, just come up with some different ideas. Even though they gave the Fantastic Four, each character, their own little time to shine in the fight, though. But we all know who, we're not going to discuss that because it's spoilers. One specific character gets more of the shine than others, but it wasn't a huge problem that I had. That was pretty much all I had for the bad. But overall, I can say, to answer the question below, was this the best film since Endgame? I have to say no, because there's only one film that it is only behind. It's number 2. I did enjoy, and I can say I enjoyed Spider-Man No Way Home better than this. So since Spider-Man No Way Home, this was easily the best Marvel movie I have watched, and probably Marvel content period that I have watched. Again, that's not saying much because I haven't watched the recent TV shows such as Daredevil Born Again, which is very sacrilegious to say coming out of my mouth, because it's as big as a Daredevil fan that I am, that I have not watched the TV series. But y'all know how I am about TV. I don't enjoy TV. But still, this is the best that they've produced since No Way Home for me. Way better than Thunderbolts. So much better than Thunderbolts. It was better than Captain America Brave New World. Better than the Loki TV series. Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. Just the list, y'all, we're not going to sit here all day. The list goes on and on and on. Y'all guys know the past movies that have come since 2021. This film was just as good. Now, maybe if this movie came out in the Infinity Saga era, I can't say that it's probably one of the best that they've made, but this Marvel has set such a low bar to the point to where it's easily to say that this film was the best that they've released since No Way Home. But because there was not a lot of action scenes, and the final battle was not the best, the rewatchability for this movie for me isn't the best. And I know a lot of people do not like the old Fantastic Four movies. Specifically, I'm talking about the ones with Chris Evans and Jessica Alba. We're not going to talk about the garbage that came out in 2015. We can all agree on that front. But for me, I can say I could possibly, depends on what type of mood I'm in, I could watch the first Fantastic Four over this one. But that's just because of me. I grew up on that Fantastic Four movie. It's entertaining for me. I just enjoyed it. Most of the movie I enjoyed. I know just, VFX wise, it's not the best. CGI is not the best. And even the story, specifically the third act of the movie, it is not the best. But still, rewatchability wise, it's kind of maybe on par with those movies. I just don't think this movie is that rewatchable because of the action sequences. It's the same thing essentially for me like The Batman. Even though The Batman was a great movie, but I found myself getting bored upon rewatching, because I rewatched it in the theaters. So if I were to rewatch this Fantastic Four movie, I possibly could find myself getting bored at some point, some way, form, or fashion. But that's just me. So the rewatchability for this movie is not that great. But overall, Go support the movie because we are about to discuss some box office numbers that were released over the weekend that I was very shocked to see. I'm very happy to see, even though I still want this film to do good. But y'all need to go see this film because with the news coming out going into its second weekend, Marvel might want to get in panic mode just a little bit. But overall, I enjoyed the movie. I thought it was good. It's the best thing that Marvel has released since 2021 by far. If this is what the future of Marvel could be leading into Avengers Doomsday, this is 100% a breath of fresh air. Now, I might be saying this too, and another reason why is we know the thing that is going on in Marvel when it comes to having your C-list characters and B-list characters as your main focal point in the universe. So me as a huge Fantastic Four fan, they are up there with X-Men as part of my favorite characters in Marvel, period, because I just love Fantastic Four, specifically Human Torch and The Thing. They're like one of my favorites. That may be a reason why I enjoy this movie so much, because I was able to finally get A-list characters in a movie. So we may just have to wait and see what Avengers Doomsday has to hold, because we have the mid-credit scene in the movie shadowing the future leading into Avengers Doomsday. And I found myself a little underwhelmed by the mid-credit scene because they didn't really show a lot, but still, we got to look at what there is to come. So we're just going to have to wait and see next Christmas. Not this coming up Christmas, but next Christmas. So we got a very long time till we get another Marvel movie. Let's see. 17 months. We got a very long time till we get another Marvel. No, take it back. We have Spider-Man 4 coming out exactly a year from today, July 31st. So that is going to be our next Marvel movie. But we have a very long time till then. Again, we got a whole another year till we get another Marvel movie. And that, ladies and gentlemen, I can't say definitively is my movie review for the Fantastic Four. Now, if you would like me to pretty much expound upon my ideas, go over like a spoiler-ish movie review to get some of the things that I loved and didn't like about the film, spoiler-wise, we can just discuss that at another time in another video. But that is my quick thoughts. Again, go see the film because we're about to get into some box office numbers and it's not looking so hot. So what did you guys think about Fantastic Four? Did you guys enjoy it? Did you guys not like it? I want to know all of your comments down below.